Are video games a waste of time? Think about it. Every single hour that you've spent playing a video game and whether or not it was a waste of time. Think about the mobile games, think about the games on your computer, the games you play with friends. Think about every second you've spent on it. Was it a waste of time? For me, yes and no, right? For everybody, it's going to be different, but for my personal experience, I feel like a lot of the time that I spent playing video games could have been spent doing things that were more proactive and led to a better life for me. I'm not saying that all video games are bad, nor that you shouldn't spend your time playing video games. What I am saying is that if I look back into my past and actually think about the reason as to why I played so many video games, it was because of two things. One, because I was emotionally kind of upset at a lot of things in life, and I needed to have an outlet. And that outlet for me was playing video games. It was playing League of Legends, it was playing PS2 games, it was playing games with my dad. It was doing something that kind of took me out of the situation that I was in and moved me towards a fake world where I had more power. And that kind of leads me into the second thing. Video games gave me a way to bare my teeth and to show dominance to other people when I was a young adult. When I was a young kid, I was bullied a pretty decent bit. Mainly because I was pudgy, mainly because I was different. My parents wouldn't let me go to sleepovers. My parents were like immigrants. They just didn't understand and like hang out with like the rest of the parents. And so from a young age, I was already like ostracized and put into a place where I wasn't able to demonstrate or like have social capital. But in the video game world, I was. There, when I played Minecraft on servers, I was able to be liked and I was able to have conversations with people that I wouldn't usually have. I was able to even talk to people online in a more vulnerable way and just be honest about the way I was feeling because I felt that nobody in my life was able to actually have a conversation with me and kind of tell me and like lead me along the way. And that led to me following a lot of Twitch streamers, and I'm so lucky that I met the people I did online because honestly, I could have gone down like a whole different pathway and a whole different like experience and had a different experience because of the video games I played, right? So are video games a waste of time? Yes and no. Video games can be an emotional refuge for a lot of young adults. Think about COVID. COVID was one of the worst things that you could do to somebody if they are just starting to learn how to be an adult. You're going to take a kid who spends almost the entirety of their day at school and hanging out and socializing with people, and then you're going to stuff them into a room where not only are they not going to be able to interact with the friends they had, but also are literally fearing the life of their family and parents because of it. Think about the guilt associated with that. Let's say the kid gets sick with COVID, the kid gives COVID to his mom, who then gives it to his grandma, and then the kid is the one who killed the grandma. Like, that situation has probably occurred, and that situation was something that I was afraid of. My dad has asthma. If I brought COVID home from college, I knew that if he got sick, he might pass away. So it made me not want to socialize, it made me not want to talk to people, and it made me go to the path of video games. Video games was where I could still socialize with people, I could still talk to people, and I could escape reality by staying in that state of video gaming. And I wanted to actually do this little exercise here, kind of just to demonstrate what I think about video game habits in general, right? Let's hope this is not flipped. So let's say this is the healthy side of video games, right? So you're spending, let's say, an hour a day playing video games recreationally, you hang out with friends, you talk with them on Discord, everything's good, right? You're just actually enjoying the video games. But if you're using video games as an emotional refuge to run away from your problems, let's say you have like a gacha addiction or you have like a gambling addiction and you play video games as a way to kind of like justify that, right? You quit gambling, but you just hop right back onto video games doing loot boxes and stuff like that. That's like an emotional refuge in the other way. So what you want to do is have this balanced, right? And it's really hard to do that because there are so many different types of video games and there's just so many different types of games and things in the world that constitute a game. If you really think about it, almost everything in life is a game. If you become a lawyer, if you become a researcher, like that, it's in itself, the game of becoming something is a game in itself because you're trying to approach a goal and get to a goal using skills, strategies, or whatever, and you have a certain amount of chances to do it. Think about Mario. You're the guy on the left and you're trying to go to the right to the flag. That's pretty much every single thing in life, but video games just make it virtual and it makes it easier to understand. So if we talk about video games and playing video games as an emotional refuge, video games can be good for you if you feel like pretty powerless in your situation and you feel like you can't improve or become the person that you want in real life, right? So let's say you become really good at Fortnite and then everybody at school wants to play Fortnite with you because you're always getting those dubs. That means that you're gaining social capital from playing video games. And it could be a good thing. You make new relationships, you hang out with more people at school, your skills show value to other people, and it kind of puts you above other people in the dominance hierarchy. And it doesn't matter if you're in shape, if you're ugly, if you're fat, anything. If you're good at the video game and people play the video game and want to have fun doing it, then you're automatically somebody who can become a little bit more popular, have a little bit more social capital. So are video games a waste of time? Yes and no. If I go back to the 3,800 hours that I spent on Steam playing video games, a lot of the video games that I play were fighting video games and shooting video games. My dad always told me to not play shooting video games because it would teach me how to use guns, and guns are bad and all that stuff, which is like a fair thing for an immigrant father to say who came from a country where there was like war and, you know, he had bad experiences with all that stuff. So I get it, right? But that means that I needed another outlet to get like my violent urges and violent tendencies out. Guys, if you're a young adult, a young man, you're going to want to have fights. You're going to want to have conflict because you have this thing called testosterone running through you, and that automatically makes you want to play and want to like actually interact with other people and have like challenges and like play and fight and wrestle and do things like that. Like there's a reason that we do that because of dominance, because the strongest person is usually the one who succeeds, who gets to have get married, have kids, and keeps on growing and evolving, and the strongest person is the one who gets the choice to do that. So us having testosterone, men having the ability to actually like dominate and actually play games and stuff like that is a really important thing to our evolution, and it's a part of what being a man or a young adult is, right? So video games, kind of like I talked before, allow you to kind of get rid of those violent tendencies and violent urges within a virtual world, right? Think about it. Imagine if you like are so angry that you want to punch a wall, that you're just like so pissed off, but instead you go into COD and you just go crazy and play video games for like 2 hours and just are really like getting your KD up and going crazy on the kill streaks and stuff like that. And it sounds insane, right? It's like, wow, you got so frustrated in real life that you had to go into a fake world and put out your violent urges. It's good and bad, because if you can get rid of violent urges by playing video games, and like this sounds like crazy, I know, but like guys, like I played fighting games. Why do you think I played fighting games? Because I wanted to fight people. I wanted to go out and like actually challenge people and like have fun, and that's why I do jiu-jitsu now. It's literally like I have that drive inside of me. I have that want, that need, that craving to challenge people and just like go at it and see how far I can push myself and see if this person can beat me or if I can beat this person. Like that's a completely normal thing to want and do. And so video games facilitate you and allow you to do that. Those 3,800 hours of me playing video games was me basically doing the same thing as playing soccer or playing football or something like that. Albeit maybe I was less healthy doing that, sitting on my ass playing video games, but also I played football for a couple of years. I know that I probably have some sort of brain damage or got some sort of concussion while playing it and didn't actually get it like diagnosed or something like that. So, we can compare apples to oranges here on what's better, but I got my fill playing video games with competitive advantages, like actually competing and stuff like that without needing to get hurt. But when I played football, I got hurt a couple of times. I have a finger that's like a little bit messed up right here. It's not going back into place. So like if you look at all my fingers here, this one is like crooked because when I was playing football, it just slipped in and it just didn't come out. Like I paid the price at a young age because I wanted to play football and wanted to compete with other people, and like that's okay, but this is the price, right? So this is the price. I fractured my wrist. Like there's a price to being athletic, and there's a price to competing with people in the real world. So like, are video games a waste of time? No, because sometimes you can get those violent urges out, you can get those competitive urges out without having to actually like, kill yourself and actually have stakes and have competitive like fights and actual like consequences with it. You can play Minecraft and like actually have some sort of dominance feeling and actually achieve some sort of serotonin or dopamine release when you're doing it and playing the video game, and like actually not have to hurt yourself or put yourself at risk when you do that. But then again, we're going back to here. If we look at the video game habits, if you want to get rid of your violent tendencies and you play fighting games and you feel satisfied, you're like, man, I beat the crap out of that dude. I feel so good. It's like, I kicked that guy's ass playing Marvel vs. Capcom, and it's like, oh yeah, we had a good time and it was fun and we romped around, right? That's this over here. That's the video games being a good way to get rid of those violent urges, those violent tendencies, and like use that testosterone in a good place, right? And then there's another way where you become tyrannical and you're like, I'm playing League of Legends right now and I'm flaming the crap out of my top lane jungler, or my top lane, because he wasn't able to finish the gank with me. And I'm calling him, I can't say that on YouTube, I'm telling him really horrible things and I'm telling him awful things because I feel like I have the ability to do that because I'm playing a game and he should be better because he's on my team and I'm the best person playing League of Legends. Like, no, that's the wrong way to go about it. And that's why the type of video game that you play is really important. And it's really like, it does matter a lot in the type of person that you become. Because, like, I'm not joking, guys. Very not well-adjusted people play League of Legends. Violence in video games is it's not only just like you being a villain or like killing somebody or like finishing somebody in Mortal Kombat with a fatality, right? It's also verbal violence. It's like social violence. It's being able to have the capacity to cause somebody pain in a video game setting. So it's like, are you able to cause somebody pain through the game, or are you causing somebody pain through your words? Like, don't be somebody who is abusive to their teammates, who is abusive to the people they play with, because there's no point. Like, what are you achieving? What is changing in your life? Like, you being angry at somebody, like, they're going to play better because you're yelling at them? Like, that never works. We all know that doesn't work, right? So it's like, don't be like that. Don't be on this side of the scale. Be somebody who uses the drive to, like, be better, to compete and to like fight and stuff like that, to make yourself better and your opponents better. And that's why one-on-one fighting games, I feel like, are really good at facilitating that. I played so much Tekken, I played so much Street Fighter. It's like playing with somebody in Tekken and Street Fighter, usually you get some people who are like really mean or whatever, but a lot of the time after you play somebody, you have to actually had a good match and you had like fun playing against them, you can message them right after and be like, hey man, that was awesome. Like, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? You know what I mean? So it's like, video games are not a waste of time because they can teach you like valuable skills about competition and valuable skills about like learning how to be a fair player and learning how to actually like bare your teeth and actually like compete in things in a fair and okay way. Every single person has had their parents say, you spend too much time playing those video games, you spend too much time on your computer, on your phone, whatever. And it's like, yes, we probably do, right? But we talked about two things today. We talked about video games as an emotional refuge and video games as a way to get out those violent tendencies and to get out those, that testosterone or like the wanting to challenge people and stuff like that, right? But let's talk about what time actually is. Like, what is so valuable at time and why your parents say this, right? It's because you need to choose and spend your time wisely. Playing a video game is okay, but only if that's something that you want to do and you like need to do it and you are intentionally doing it to enjoy it and spend time doing it. Do not waste your time playing video games by being somebody who says, well, I got nothing to do today. I guess I'll just hop into another ranked League of Legends match and, flame my teammates and accomplish nothing, not get better at the game, not actually have any goal, and just kind of play it for the sake of playing it so that I can numb my brain and just have nothing bother me and just escape the world that I'm like in, right? So like that could be useful if you feel like you need to numb yourself and you're like in a situation that's so bad that you can't escape or anything like that, right? But guys, if you want to get better, if you want to escape, if you want to change your situation, you have to look at yourself and you have to actually ask yourself if you are the one who is spending your time wisely, if you are spending your time in the correct manner and way. There's a loneliness epidemic. There is a high suicide rate of young males. There is so much issues and there's so many problems with just being a young man and just existing in this world today, right? It's not perfect, but if you spend time looking inward, looking at yourself, actually reflecting on the actions that you've taken, and actually maybe even writing down the things that you feel have affected you the most in life, I promise you, you will get better. Because reflection, meditating, and just understanding what is going on in your situation will help you process and help you be okay and reconcile with the outcome that you have ultimately achieved. Like, you can't escape reality. You really can't, because we have to live and we also have to die. So the time that you spend, you have to use it wisely. Don't be somebody who uses video games as a crutch. Be somebody who, when they play a game, they understand they're doing it for the sake of enjoyment, they're doing it for a certain reason, and not for the sake of just numbing themselves and just being okay. And if you want to numb yourself and do that stuff, just be sure that you can acknowledge that, right? if you can't acknowledge that, that means you got to look inward and kind of just ask yourself, why am I doing this in the first place, right? Listen, nobody's perfect. There's probably people who have never played a single video game in their life and are very happy. And there's probably people in the world who play video games every single day. You got these Twitch streamers, whatever, right? And they're also happy and amazing as well. It's not the problem of video games. It's more the problem of our own psychology and the way that we treat ourselves and the way that we are in general, guys. All of our ancestors have done a certain thing in a certain way to get us to the level that we've gotten here today, right? Like, they all had to work really, really hard to ensure that their bloodline succeeded and that we are the people that we are today. And there had to be certain things that they did right that are within us that are going to continue and are going to be a problem and continuously affect us in general. And that kind of goes back to that psychology, right? It's like video games are an emotional refuge. The reason that you play it when you're upset, the reason why you feel so good playing it is because you're able to avoid the problems. You're able to pull your brain back and just have that dopamine rushing within your brain because you're winning at a micro scale and you're getting that little rush and feeling of like, I'm actually accomplishing something. I'm actually doing something good with my life, right? So like the biology and the way that our psychology worked in the past is the exact same way that it works today, right? It's just video games are a way to facilitate that in a virtual space. So spend your time wisely, really. Like, if you understand that the time that you're spending on video games might not be the best time that you're spending, like if you can actually ask yourself that question, then you already know that you could be doing something better. If playing video games is your passion, then do it. If something else is your passion, if you want to actually try something else, give something else a shot, then do it as well. Video games are always going to be there, but the time that you have today to try new things, experiencing things with new people, that's going to be time that's like fleeting away, right? So if you want to become better, if you want to change your life and improve yourself, I really recommend you ask yourself, is playing video games a waste of time for you? Because if it is, try something new. If it isn't, then it's okay. Keep playing. Just be reasonable with the way that you play and be fair and be honest and understand why you play video games and why it's important to you. All right? And good luck. This is Matt from the Live Company. I hope you learned something, and thanks for watching. Peace.